As we continue to celebrate Inauguration Week, you should know that President Trump, and doesn't it sound great to say that again, President Trump orders all federal diversity, equity, and inclusion employees to be placed on leave starting yesterday, and the agencies to draw up plans to fire them. The memo issued on Tuesday to the heads of all the woke departments set a deadline of 5 p.m. Eastern Time yesterday to inform the employees that they would be put on leave as the agencies prepared to close all DEI offices and programs and to remove all websites and social media accounts for such offices. 1,500 active duty troops are headed to the U.S.-Mexico border, and the Border Patrol agents have been told to deport the migrants without granting asylum hearings under Trump edict. Buses of the criminal invaders are already being deported, and Mexico is now having to open shelters in order to accommodate them. The New York Times is very upset about, well, just about everything, particularly that President Trump signed an executive order that labels the drug cartels terrorist organizations, which then allows our government to do all kinds of things that governments do to terrorists, no matter where they are. Especially if they're in our own neighbor's backyard, right there south of the border. So the New York Times is upset and says labeling the cartels terrorists might actually hurt the U.S. economy. The largest shareholder, basically the guy who controls the New York Times, is a Mexican billionaire named Carlos Slim. And you don't become a billionaire in Mexico unless you're cozying up with the cartels. Seriously, the largest shareholder of the New York Times, the guy who basically has full control over the entire newspaper, is not even an American citizen. Speaking of Americans, however, great Americans, I'm sure you heard Donald Trump gave pardons to all of the January 6th protesters, with the exception of around a dozen or so, which actually did some pretty bad stuff, so he decided to just commute their sentences instead. So they still do have a criminal record because they did do some crimes. And here is the founder and the head of the Oath Keepers, Stuart Rhodes, causing even more liberal tears to flow.
Any regrets?
No, I don't, because we did the right thing. We were there to protect Trump supporters from Antifa. We were there to protect and secure 2 permitted events on Capitol grounds where members of Congress were going to speak. The guys that went inside did not commit any crimes. In fact, they helped people. They helped the police and helped the people out.
And we all saw Mark Zuckerberg sneaking a peek of Jeff Bezos' floozy fiancée, Lauren Sanchez, at the inauguration because she came there just wearing a bra under her sports coat. So, I mean, who couldn't help themselves? And this strange situation is actually life imitating art to a T. Some people remembered that this was literally a skit from a Seinfeld episode.
Anything wrong? Well, Sue Ellen, it's not a top. It's a bra. Oh, I know. Thanks again.
Oh my God, Kramer, is that woman just wearing a bra?
And while the Marxist Democrats and their mouthpieces in the media continue to melt down over Elon Musk accidentally making a gesture similar to one of a scary regime halfway around the world that existed almost 100 years ago, people have dug up some old photos of a bunch of Democrats doing exactly the same thing. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had perhaps the biggest meltdown of all.
You're gonna do a Sig Heil? You're gonna do a Hail Hitler?
By you, I think she means herself, because there she is, caught on video in 4K, as the kids say, doing it too. There's Tampon Tim even throwing one up. Tampon, what are you doing, bro? Oh, no. Oh. I mean, what's next? Is Taylor Swift going to be discovered to be a Nazi too? Oh, wait, what's this? Meanwhile, Donald Trump's policies and pending policies are already causing jobs to return back to the United States.
Stellantis Investments returns 1,500 jobs to their Illinois plant. They're going to produce their new midsize pickup in Illinois, and they're going to build their next-gen Dodge Durango at their Detroit complex.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know what the next-gen Dodge Durango looks like.
Did you notice that this moron didn't even know how to pronounce Illinois, which does have an S on the end, but I think we all learned in, was it 5th grade, that the S is silent. So look at that, Donald Trump is already bringing auto manufacturing back to Detroit and other American cities. The usual suspects on TikTok are having a mental breakdown over our country finally beginning to return to normal. And this is the one policy that has set many of them off.
As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only 2 genders, male and female.
What a concept. Return to sanity. It's amazing that such an obvious fact even needs to be stated, but we are dealing with millions and millions of mentally ill people out there. And the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada, Pierre Poilievre, or however you pronounce his last name, was asked about this new policy. And then this is his response.
First day on the job, President Trump signed an executive order, the U.S. government only recognizing 2 genders, male, female. They're unchangeable. If elected as prime minister, is that something that you're going to kind of walk in line with, or what are your feelings on that executive order?
Are you going to have normal policies for Canada as well, sir?
Well, I don't know. Do you have any other genders that you'd like to name?
Me personally?
Yes.
I'm just asking more so if you're in line with what he is saying. Do you agree with what he's saying? Is that something that you would be lockstep with if elected as prime minister?
Well, I'm not aware of any other genders than men and women. I mean, if you have any other that you want me to consider, you're welcome to tell me right now.
Well, there's personally, I am a man. I am a As people who say cis man. There are people there who, they say they're gender neutral. Well, you are a man, yes. There are people there who say they're gender neutral. Yeah, they say they're gender neutral. They're a trans person. Is that something that you would recognize here? Whereas in the States, at least with their U.S. government, the way they're seeing it, there's only 2.
I'm only aware of 2, but if you come up with another list, then you're welcome to do that.
Do you realize how long this insanity, this cultural Marxist cancer, has been spreading throughout the United States and the rest of the world? 10 years ago, 11 years ago now, rather, in 2014, Facebook expanded their list of supposed genders when people signed up, if anybody is even signing up for Facebook anymore, even back then, from the obvious, 2 to 58. And that shocked people. People thought it was just a joke. 58 different genders? What? Well, that was then, and this is now. In case you missed it, Meta has ordered the removal of the tampons from the men's bathrooms, and they changed their terms of service, allowing people to misgender supposed transgender people again, and to make fun of them, and to just insult them, really, without getting suspended or banned, which had been happening for the last decade. So Donald Trump has only been president again for about 3 days, and we're already making America great again. And if you want to save 20% off any of my shirts from markdice.com this week, use the promo code ULTRAMAGA at the checkout. One word, ULTRAMAGA. The site has been fully redesigned, and there are some great new products. So if you just click up at the top, you can see that there is a whole drinkware section where you can get all of these awesome mugs and some pint glasses. There is a hoodies section, there is a long sleeve section, and there is now a women's section as well, which has all of the designs available in a women's tee. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below. Enter the promo code ULTRAMAGA at the checkout this week to save 20% off of anything, and check them out.